Alright, today we're going to be learning about colored pencil samples or colored pencil techniques that you can apply to your coloring to make it look more effective as far as coloring goes. So what you're going to need for this activity is two colored pencils, a white colored pencil and a regular pencil or ballpoint pen. And we're going to remove these right now, so we'll use those later. But we're going to actually just pick one of our two colors to start with. Alright, so I'm going to pick blue here. And we're going to be talking about layering. Alright, so when you layer, the main thing is you want to get a nice area of color that's really smooth and you can't really see the strokes of the pencil. So what you want to avoid is kind of coloring in all different directions so that you really can see each individual stroke of the pencil. Alright, so the objective is to try to get it smooth. There's a couple ways to do this. You can actually take, and the most common way, especially when you're filling large areas, is just to go from side to side. Alright, so you're going in one direction only, and because of that, it kind of helps smooth out the coloring. Alright, it's going to look less rough and more smooth this way. Another trick, if you're filling in small areas, which you can still get that smooth and sometimes even smoother surfaces or swatches of color, is just to go in little circles. And so when you're overlapping circles like this, especially with a pencil, you're going to get nice smooth areas of color. Right, so that's just another way to do it. And if you just keep going over it, you can really get nice smooth areas of color as well. Alright, so for smaller areas that works really, really well. Alright, so we're going to fill in this large area here though, so I'm going to go for the side to side technique here. And we're just going to go back and forth, nice even pressure. You don't want it to be uneven as you're coloring. You don't want it to look like dark light, dark light. You want it to be really nice and even when you're layering. Alright, so I'm going to go down this box here with nice even pressure, side to side. I'm being really consistent when I'm using my pencil and pressing on the tip of the pencil here. So I'm being really consistent. And I can go back and forth a little bit to smooth it out. So you can see that nice smooth area of color. Now the cool thing about layering is you can actually build up value with it. So if you use the same pencil and turn it to the side, go in a slightly different direction, you're going to be able to build up a value. So I'm going to do it a little part way here so you can just see. So same nice even pressure, but now I'm going to fill in some of those little pieces of the white of the paper showing through. Alright, so it's going to fill it in. You can see it gives it a darker value. Still nice, same even pressure there. And you can continue to build it up, almost like cross-hatching with our last activity. You can just start from the corner here, same nice even pressure, and it's going to just keep getting darker and darker in value. Okay, so that's what that's going to look like. Alright, another cool thing about layering is you can actually take another color and layer over it, right? That's the whole point of why it's called layering, is you can take a second color and typically going perpendicular will work the best, just like I just showed you with the blue the second time, just because it helps sort of fill in that gap, helps create even smoother areas of color. Alright, so still side to side, just a different direction. And so now you've got the layered blue and the red, so they're starting to mix there. Another thing you can do, so if I can take and layer a little bit more of the red, and then I can go back in with the blue and go back over the top of it. So you can actually even sandwich layers, do multiple colors. So you can use as many colors as you want to layer, but that's going to help create a more effective layer there, so smoother swatch of color. Alright, so that's what layering is really good for. You can get darker values with one color, or you can even put multiple colors on top of one another with layering. Alright, the second technique we have is hatching. Now with hatching, a sharper pencil works better just because you'll get nicer lines, crisper lines. So remember, that's hatching, is just a series of lines next to each other creating value. Alright, so it's darker than it is on the white of the paper here. So you can actually do that. Remember from the last activity we did, we can have an optical mix by putting another line of, or hatching lines of color in between the other ones. That starts to mix the two together and give us that optical mix between blue and red there to give us that violet. Another thing you can do with hatching with colored pencils is just hatch, and then you can cross hatch with the same colored pencil and you're going to start to build up value. The more you do it, the darker value you're going to get. Alright, so you're using line to build up value rather than with layering, where you're just kind of coloring big areas. And then you can also, lastly, hatch first, and then you can cross hatch over with the opposite color, which also gives you that optical mix we talked about. So hatching is pretty versatile in that way. It's just using lines to build up value and areas of color. Alright, so that's that first section there. And then we have value contrast. Value contrast, remember, value is lights and darks in art. So we just talked about adding value with lines here. But with value contrast, you're talking about going from dark to light really quickly. So I'm going to press really hard on the tip of the pencil here to create a saturated area of color. And then after that saturated area of color, I can actually take and press really, really lightly on the tip of the pencil and get a lighter layer of coloring. So you can see it goes from dark to light really quickly, and that's the value contrast there, going from dark to light fast. Alright, and that's pretty effective if you're trying to draw the viewer's eye to a certain area, or if you're trying to have a focal point. So if you put dark next to light, you're going to typically have the viewer's eye go to that area. Alright, so you can also do the same thing. So if I wanted to create another darker area of blue here, you can actually take value contrast and use multiple colors for it. So if I want to take a dark area of blue, darker value of blue, and put it next to a really light area of red, that would also be a value contrast. Okay, once again, sort of drawing that viewer's eye in to that. So that's value contrast. And then value change, kind of related to that, is when you go from dark to light, but do it slowly or gradually. All right, so you're doing the value, but you're changing it as you go. So I'm going to press really hard again on the tip of the pencil. You can see that nice dark value there. So you're getting the darkest value that pencil can get. And then as you move down, you're going to get lighter and lighter and lighter till you get to the white of the paper. Now you want it to happen smoothly, and it's really difficult to get it done the first time. So always feel free to go right where you see maybe a line like this, and just go back through it till you get it looking right. Alright, so I'm going to go back through, trying to make it happen more gradually here. Just go right back up to where that line was and just keep adding to it. So that'll give you a nice smoother transition there. So you're going to try it with one pencil, and then you're going to try it with your other color. Once again, pressing really hard at the beginning, and then gradually letting off on the pressure on the tip of the pencil. So you're barely pressing by the end there. So I'm going to go back up and kind of smooth it down. And color has its own inherent value as well. So if you have yellow, it will be lighter in value just to start, lighter than say blue or red. Okay, so I'm going to get a nice smoother area of color, so you can see those turned out pretty nice. Okay. Alright, so that's value change. Blending with white is going to start out just by layering like we did up here. So I'm just going to put a little bit darker of a layer here to start, but it's just nice side to side, even consistent pressure. I'm going to go halfway on the box right here. So I'm just looking for a nice smooth area of color. And then I'm going to take my other color and do the second half of the box. Going back to value change real quick, it's one of the most effective color pencil techniques to create form and 3D sort of effects. So it's one of the quickest ways to make your coloring more effective, is using value change. And then blending with white kind of takes that a step further too. It's just another great technique, because what you're going to do is you're going to actually see the difference here in a minute between sort of the speckled look of just nice layers of color to a smoother look with blending with white. So I'm going to take my white colored pencil here, and I'm going to go back and forth, pressing pretty heavily on the tip to really give it that effect. And you can see that those immediately look different, right? So especially when you get a tooth on the paper here. So tooth is like little bumps on the paper. This paper doesn't really have much of a tooth. But once you get more of a tooth like we do on our nice art paper, you're going to see a nice speckled look when you do layering. But if you want the pigment to really look blended and smoother, it's one way to do it is using white colored pencil to help blend it, making that pigment sort of smash down. So that's a blending with white, another cool technique there. And then you have blending with color. Blending with color is just taking and really overlapping these two colors together so you get a nice overlap of the new color in the middle. So usually with blending with color, the easiest way to do it is to take and do a value change. All right, so I'm going to take one of my colors here, start really dark again. I'm gradually let off on the tip of the pencil here, but I'm making sure to go all the way to the other side of the circle. Okay, and then I can go back in and kind of even it out. Okay, so I got my value change going one direction. Then I can take my red colored pencil and go press really hard and go back the other direction. The main thing is you want to have the red go all the way back to the other side of the circle here. So that'll give you the best overlap here. So I'm going all the way back over, even though by the time it gets over there it's pretty light. I can kind of even it out here. So you can see that nice overlay of color there. It's turning that violet, that red and blue make. So that's blending with color there. And then the last technique on this side here that we're going to be talking about is imprint. So with an imprint, you're going to take and sort of burnish. So it's kind of like burnishing here, just smoothing it out. So blending with white is a burnishing technique, but imprint is a different type of burnishing technique in which you're going to fold the paper over on the corner. You're going to go ahead and make your initials here, or just a shape. It's fine too. You're going to use your pencil or your ballpoint pen, and you're going to go back and forth over it a few times to get really sort of dark there. Then you're going to flip it back down, and what you've done is create an imprint there. So now when I take my colored pencil and go over the top of it, you're going to be able to see that imprint. Sorry, this pencil got really dull. So you're going to be able to see that imprint there. Okay? And then one trick you might want to do at some point is to take out the imprint. To take out the imprint, you're going to go ahead and just take a sharp colored pencil and fill in the imprint with the same color. Now if you do that, it should take away the imprint from the image. Okay, so now it kind of disappeared here. All right, so that's if you want to remove it. All right, so once you're done with the technique side of the paper, you can flip it over to this side here. And what you're going to do at the top here is you're going to use all those techniques we just talked about to color this entire thing here. So, and then what you're going to do is label it. So I have blending with white, I have imprint, value change, blending with color, and you can even do blending with color and blending with white over the top just to try it out. And then down here at the bottom, you're going to color these using those techniques, and then you're going to create your own on this side. All right, so that is going to be filling in the rest.